Hi there DevNoobs! I am back with another long series for you. This time we will tackle the date object. I don't know about you, but I always had to struggle in the past when I was using it. I could never remember the correct methods to use, and when I needed a specific format, I could never get it easily. But those days are gone now, and I want to share my knowledge with you so you never get frustrated with dates like I did in the past. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. So what exactly is this date object and what does it represent? Answer is simple. JavaScript date object represents a single moment in time in a platform-independent format. It contains a single number that specifies the amount of milliseconds that passed since 1st January of 1970 UTC. To be completely precise, it is a number of milliseconds that have elapsed since the midnight of 1st January 1970 UTC. This definition might remind you of the definition of Unix epoch, but do not get fooled. Unix epoch is the number of seconds, not milliseconds. You would get the JavaScript date number by multiplying the Unix epoch by number 1000. Even though the date is essentially a number, its maximum and minimum values are not the same as the maximum and minimum safe integer values. Instead, the range is defined in ECMA 262 specification with value 0 equal to our well-known date of 1st January of 1970 UTC. And the maximum allowed value from this point in time to both past and future is 100 million days. It translates to the date range of 20th April 271,821 BCE to 13th of September 275,760 CE. But that's enough of a boring theory. Let's see how to define a date object in JavaScript. There are actually 4 different ways to instantiate the date object, and we will look at all 4 of them now. First and easiest way is to not provide any input parameter. That way, the constructor of the date object uses the current date and time in the format of milliseconds elapsed since 1st of January of 1970 UTC. In the second case, we are the ones who provide the date and time as a millisecond amount. I chose 0 to show one important aspect of working with dates. It is important to keep in mind that while the time value at the heart of a date object is UTC, the basic methods to fetch the date and time or its components all work in the local, i.e. host system, time zone and offset. That's why I get 1 AM instead of exact midnight in the second case. My local time zone is GMT plus 100, which means I'm 1 hour ahead of UTC. Therefore, the result I got is correct, but it is also dependent on the locality I provided. The third option is to provide a date string. However, this needs to be in a certain format. Rule of thumb says that if a certain date string is parsable by method dateParse, it is also accepted as input parameter for the date constructor. The last case is to provide each individual value starting with year and finishing with milliseconds. One thing to note is that months are index-based, which means that January is 0 and December is 11. Only year and index of month are mandatory. All the other values are optional, and if not provided, they default to the minimal valid value. So for the days it is 1, for the hours, minutes, seconds and milliseconds it is 0. There are few things that you need to be aware of. Just like with the stringed objects, you can't do comparison. Neither 2 equal signs nor 3 equal signs will ever yield positive results. That might be an issue when you need to compare 2 dates. Fortunately, since the date is essentially a number, we can do something else. We can subtract one date from another, and if the result is 0, we know they are equal. There are few exceptions when we specify a year. When we provide value for the year in the range between 0 and 99, it will be automatically considered as value from range 1900 to 1999. It does not make much sense to us younger people, but the folks from the 20th century, when JavaScript was created, wanted to save some time typing digits. They probably didn't even realize how it would affect people after 1999. I have a strong feeling not many believed JavaScript would become so popular that it will survive until today. Now, you might ask yourself, if let's say 80 maps to 1980, how do I type the actual year 80? Fortunately for us, we can use the method setFullYear and override this ridiculous conversion. Alright, that was the introduction to the date object. I believe we will have a lot of fun together with this object. So don't forget to pay attention to new episodes from Monday to Friday. As always, thank you for your attention. I will see you soon with the first methods.